All right, welcome back to the Generation Z podcast. Today is episode 36, and today we're going to be telling you why you should not always listen to your parents. So, we're going to break this down into three main parts. So, listen to people who have done what you want to do, changing landscape, and why your parents' advice might be outdated, and then short-term pain, long-term happiness. And just before we get into this, I just want to say, not taking your parents' advice does not mean that you disrespect them, but ultimately, your parents just want you to be safe and secure. But what this means is that changing maybe your career or choosing a career path that's different to most people usually causes them to panic.
Yeah.
And because of that, you might have some disagreements with them. They may tell you just to play it safe and just do what they know will work. And they're acting out of love, but ultimately it's going to limit you.
100%. So before we get into this discussion, do follow us on Instagram. We have an Instagram page, and if you'd like to see the video version of the podcast that we upload, we also do have a YouTube channel. So yeah, let's start with listen to people who have done what you want to do. So 9 times out of 10 nowadays, I would think that a lot of people want to do something that their parents haven't done, if you know what I mean. So there's so much opportunity that we have nowadays, and the landscape or the world that we live in is not what it was like when our parents were growing up. So when our parents were growing up, they were always told to have a specific job that obviously gave them the most amount of pay, regardless of how, regardless of how it made them feel, whether they were happy or whether it gave them any sort of satisfaction in those times. It was all about the money, and it was all about, wasn't it, really?
Yeah, I can speak from personal experiences from this, not my parents, but extended family. I've mentioned that I want to do coaching, personal training, and the first thing is is there much money in that? I'll be like, yeah, you can do this and that. What else could you consider doing? I'm all right at accounting. I might do that. That's a really good pay. You should do accounting. But I hate accounting. Yeah, but
exactly.
if you do it, the pay's really good. I'm like, yeah, I'll be miserable.
Yeah. And recently now, I think a lot of people have started to prioritize their actual happiness,
which is good.
Over a job. Well, not over a job, but over a job that limits their happiness. Because at the end of the day, obviously money is important. It gets you out of, or it helps you in a lot of different situations. But if you're just miserable, if you're constantly on a clock of, I'm going to get up at a certain time, I'm going to trade in my time for money, essentially, because that's what a job is. You're doing what the company wants you to do, but at a cost of your own time.
Yeah, and there is no amount of money that is worth depression. Simple as that. And I heard something the other day as well. It was like people go to a job they hate, to work for a boss they dislike, to earn money to spend on pointless things that they don't need, to impress people they don't care about, which is perfect. That is so true. That's what I'd say our parents are like, and that's not hating on them, it's just how they were brought up.
Yeah,
is like that.
They are the product of their parents beforehand, aren't they? Essentially, they're the product of their upbringing, and to a certain extent, we are obviously a product of our upbringing. But it gets to a certain age where you've got to start thinking about, what do I want to do? I'm not doing everything in my life to please my parents.
Yeah,
because if they don't give you that a praise or whatever about anything, then you'll just be like miserable, because you'll be like, I'm in a shit job, and like my mum doesn't care that I'm in a shit job, or
Yeah,
my dad doesn't care, like, you know.
yeah, yeah. And I think this whole idea of listening to people who've done what you want to do is like, look at your parents' life, their job, their attitude towards life,
Mm.
what they've achieved in life. Do you want exactly what they have? If you want every single thing that they have, if their life is your dream life, then take their advice. Great, listen to it. If you don't want that life, if you think you could do things differently to them, then maybe their advice isn't the best. And
Yeah.
I think like when you're young, like really young, obviously you listen to your parents because they've got more life experience.
Mm-hmm.
Like it's just how you grow up. You think
Yeah.
everything they say is the truth and like nothing but the truth. Like you think you see your parents as someone just knows everything.
Mm.
But then I think also as you get older that you need to kind of decide whether their advice is really going to get you to where you want to be.
Yeah.
So if so like for me, for example, like if I wanted to do online coaching and an online business, for example, for somebody else, right? And maybe their dad's a lawyer, right?
Mm.
If you go to your dad or your parents, all right, I want to start an online business, and your dad, who's a lawyer, goes, no, don't do that. Like, it's not going to work. Your dad's a lawyer. How the fuck does he know whether you can start an online business or not? He
Yeah.
doesn't have a clue. Has he tried? Probably not. Like,
Yeah.
why would you take that advice?
Facts. Yeah, I think like growing up, obviously, as you said, like our parents have always given us advice, but that's in their best interest, because as parents, like parents don't want to put you at any sort of risk, do they? Like
No.
as you said at the start, it's they do it out of love. They do it for you to be secure. They want you to like have a constant amount of money coming in. If
Mm,
it's a job that they want, they don't. Yeah, so for example, like you know, a job gives you security in the fact that it gives you it gives you a monthly wage, and it's guaranteed. You work for a certain amount of time, you get rewarded with money.
mm-hmm.
But as you said, online coaching, you may not see any sort of inflow or any sort of money in for a couple of months, maybe a year. But then when you're constantly knocking on the door and you're being persistent and you're attacking whatever you want to achieve, like your actual like passion, but the money will come. And I think a lot of people get disheartened, obviously, when they don't see when they don't see the money come in a short term. But you could have a month where you're able to earn twice as much as you're able to in a normal full-time job, but then it's what you enjoy and you're getting paid for it. And we all want that. We all want to have a job or do something in our lives that we enjoy, that we wake up to do every day, and we love it, and we're also getting paid for it. It's like a win-win.
Yeah, and think how many people have that life. Like
Yeah,
barely
and it's
anybody.
not hard. Like it shows the people who really want it and who say they want it and don't.
Yeah, that's
You
true.
know?
Yeah, very much true. And I think because our parents' kind of generation was very much like school, uni, get a job, all of that. This idea of just like starting a business from your phone is just so
Out of their
way,
minds.
yeah, that they just can't really contemplate it in some
Yeah,
circumstances. And when we say like listen to people who've done what you want to do, I'd say you need to consider maybe, I know a lot of our podcast guests have said something about mentoring.
hmm,
Could consider
yeah,
mentoring, going to seminars. Easy one is books by people who've done what you want to do as well. And I think that's just something that our parents never really had. I
yeah,
feel like our
yeah,
parents, if you told one of your parents, like, Like they would never be told as a child, "Oh, why don't you get a mentor?" They didn't need that because they'd go to uni and just get a job.
Yeah.
So the whole
Or
idea of paying somebody to teach you something seems
yeah.
ridiculous to them.
Yeah.
Even
Even
though,
if
like,
you,
I was just going to say, like, uni's like £9,000 a year to be taught something.
uh,
Imagine how good of
the
a mentor.
perspective.
Imagine how much good of a mentor you could get for 9 grand. Like,
Yeah.
compared to what you learn in a year at uni, 9 grand would be so much better spent on a mentor.
Yeah. That's actually so true. That actually puts into perspective, like,
Especially 3 years worth.
yeah,
Fuck.
like if you think about it, people spend like I'm just deep in it now. It's like you spend
Mate, we
50
fucked up.
you spend 50 to 60 grand on tuition
Yeah.
to get something on a piece of paper
Yeah.
for to show an employer that you deserve to be in their company, but
Somebody else's company as well. Not even.
somebody else's company.
Oh,
Like, and at the end of the day, I think it's all about changing. It's about like changing landscapes. Like as you said, like the older the old lifestyle was the job, the school, the uni, job, kids, and then you die.
yeah.
But like,
And then you
and
die.
then you die because that's the one thing in this world that will happen.
True. True.
It's guaranteed. But like our parents are the product, as I said earlier, they're like the product of the social norms and the kind of how life was meant to be lived at that time.
Yeah.
Like you now, there's the idea of entrepreneurship. If you told like someone like 30 years ago, like, oh, they're like you can become an entrepreneur through your phone, you can create a business through your phone, or you can do all of that sort of stuff. They'd be like, you're fucking having me on.
Yeah. They still don't really understand it, even today. I
Yeah.
think, like, technology is obviously taken over, and there's so many more opportunities now,
Mm.
which we know more about than our parents
Yeah.
when it comes to that kind of stuff. So if your parents tell you not to start a business, an online business, right? They're probably saying that because when they think of starting a business, they think, oh, you need to go
All this
find some,
money.
yeah, you need to
Yeah.
go somewhere, rent a shop, pay for
Mm.
rent for that place, get a load of stock in, all of that. They don't understand what kind of an online business is.
Yeah.
If they tell you to stop making videos, or maybe they might tell me to stop recording myself in the gym, or something, or content for Instagram, they might tell you to stop doing that and find a job because they don't know what a personal brand is because it
Yeah.
didn't exist kind of when they were young. Like, and that's the whole idea of changing landscapes. We're in a different time. They don't understand everything. It comes back to that.
Yeah. Exactly. Yeah. Like, but that we're not criticizing our parents
Nah,
and being
nah.
like, nah, like you don't know a lot. Like
Yeah,
obviously they know fundamental life. They've have fundamental
yeah.
life experience and a lot more than we do. But as you said, like it's a completely different technological era that we're in now. Like
Mm.
the possibilities are endless for anyone. If you have a phone and you have an internet connection and you have a passion, like what stop, there's nothing really stopping you unless the work ethic, if you don't have the work ethic, because that's what successful people base themselves on, just their work ethic, isn't it?
Literally is. And just as you were saying that, like, it's no disrespect to your parents. If anything, it's helping you build a better relationship with your parents by doing what you want to do. Because,
Exactly.
in my opinion, I mean, I said it in the beginning, like short-term pain, long-term happiness.
Mm.
Do what you want to do, regardless of what they want you to do, because that's going to make you happy. And in when you're 30 or 40, right, and you're stuck in a job that you hate, you realize you've wasted the last 10, 15, 20 years doing something you hate because they told you to do that job. You're going to grow up and think, why the fuck did you make me do this when I
Mm.
wanted to do something completely different? And the
Yeah.
whole idea of short-term pain, long-term happiness is like, do what you want to do now. Your parents are going to disagree with it. You might even have an argument about it. But in the end, you're going to be happy and everything's going to be all right, rather than
Yeah.
growing up to resent them.
Yes, you're not trying to prove yourself to your parents or justify the decision that you've made. Like, you're allowed to fail, and
Yeah.
it could be argued that failure and failing is just as important as success.
Mm-hmm.
You never really find out about yourself if you continue to succeed, and whenever if you're succeeding all the time, you're obviously on that winning streak, in that flow state. But then, like, when it comes crashing down, that's what improves people. I think you hear it so much. Like, successful figures, they say, like, failure is necessary, and I actively look out to do things even if it does result in failure, because they understand the power that it has. And as we said at the start, it's they're doing it out of they're doing it out of their best interest, and they want you to be secure. But if you're secure all the time, like, you're always in that comfort zone, you're always in
Yeah,
that state
exactly.
that, and you and there's just no real benefit in being in a comfort zone.
No. Like, if your parents tell you not to do something that you want to do and you do fail at it, like, it's not, I'm going to do this and I can't fail at it because otherwise they're going to be right. It's just more so, I want to do this, and if it doesn't work out, well, at least I know. And maybe your parents aren't being like, I told you so. Like, who cares? Like,
Yeah.
that's really not the important thing here. It's more so just doing what you want to do and getting what you want out of life. But I don't know if you've got anything to add to this bit, or if you want me just to summarize.
Yeah, I think we can summarize it now. Yeah.
So just to sum up this podcast, I'd say your parents are full of good advice, respect them, but they don't always know best.
Mm.
You need to get to a point where you make your own decisions based on what you want from life. Listen to people who have done what you want to do. If your career path is down something that your parents haven't done, they don't have a clue about, why would you take your advice? Why would you take their advice on that? Consider getting a mentor from somebody in that industry, getting a seminar on something to do with that, read a book on that instead from an expert in that field. Your parents' advice in certain areas is probably going to be outdated. And then finally, your decisions may cause short-term pain, but with that will come long-term happiness. But that's it for today's podcast. Hope you enjoyed this one. Again, if you did, then please do subscribe or follow us on whatever platform you're listening on. Drop our Instagram page, look follow as well at _thegenerationz. Me and Sam's socials will also be in the description as well if you want to check out our stuff. Yeah, hope you enjoyed, and we'll see you in the next one.
Peace.